And Nick Saban was on a radio show today talking about one of our main topics today, which is Jalen Hurts. This is what Nick Saban said about his quarterback. Sometimes later in the year when people played us in a way that we needed to be able to throw the ball, we may not have been as efficient as we would like to have been, Saban said. No duh. That's my commentary. Just in case you're wondering, I threw in the no duh. Back to Saban. That was probably our fault as coaches because we protected him instead of developed him as a young player. What have I been telling you? What have I been telling you since last season? Everybody wants to blame Jalen for not throwing the ball well enough. Everybody wants to blame Jalen for this or that. I'm sure some people want to set up Jalen Hurts as the co-conspirator in the Kennedy assassination. You can only do what your coaches allow you to do. And when you take away an entire portion of the field, guess what? It's not super duper easy to throw the ball. Does that like absolutely absolve Jalen of any of his deficiencies? Absolutely not. But stop putting it all on him, man. That's what I've been saying. Stop putting it all on him because it's not all on him. Nick Saban just said it. We protected him instead of developing him as a young player. Boom! When you take away a part of the field where he's not allowed to make reads and throw the ball, that limits his options, does it not? Now, again, does that absolve him from all of his deficiencies? No. No, it does not. He has to be able to make a consistent intermediate pass. He's got to do that. He's got to get more consistent in throwing a deep ball. He's got to do that. But it wasn't all on him last year. And I'm not even blaming the coaches because I thought that was the best strategy for you to win a national championship, and you almost won it. You had one of the best defenses in the history of college football. Play to that strength. And it worked for 14 games and for damn near 15 games. Limit him. There's no reason to open him up. Nick Saban may say he's taking fault for it now, but at the time, I thought it was a good strategy. It was a good strategy. It almost won you a national championship. Nick Saban continues. The goal this spring and before next season is that we can create more balance by being a better passing team to go along with what we're able to do with our feet as a quarterback, as well as how that creates balance for our overall offense and utilizes some of the other skill players that we have. Hint, 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 hint. Calvin Ridley. Saban being asked about being a quarterback run spread team. That's not really what we want to be. We want to be more pro style as we were with a mix of the spread. What have I been saying? They're going to be pro style. They're also going to be spread. They're going to be a balance of the two because that's what their quarterback can do. That's what their personnel can do. They can do both. Why be just pro style when you can utilize some of the benefits that a hurry-up spread team, the stress that puts on opposing defenses? Why would you not want to use that? They are, but that's not all they're going to be. And they're not just going to be pro style. Nick Saban continues. We want a dual-threat quarterback who can make plays with his feet, but maybe not necessarily have a bunch of quarterbacks runs. But maybe not necessarily have a bunch of quarterback runs to enhance the offense. So I think that's the goal for what we want to do. I think Brian Daboll brings a special skill set of being in the NFL with a very successful program and offensive team. There you go. Boom. From Nick Saban's mouth. From Nick Saban's mouth. Key words there. When talking about not being able to throw the ball as efficiently as they'd like to later in the season, that was probably our fault as coaches because we protected him instead of developing in him as a young player. Boom. Does that absolve Jalen Hurts from all of his incompletions, from all of his deficiencies, from turning the ball over, from being loose with the football when he runs it? No, it absolutely does not. But to put all of the blame on a consistent to put all the blame on a lack of a consistent passing game on Jalen Hurts isn't fair either. And oh, by the way, I'm going to get into this today. Not everybody. I'm not going to paint with too broad a brush here, but there are a lot of people that are very, very hard on Jalen. That guy that some people don't think can be a quarterback. Guess what he did Tuesday? He lit up that Alabama defense in practice. Lit them up. Had a very good practice. I'm gonna reel that back in. I'm not gonna say lit up because Alabama's defense is still pretty damn good. He had a very, 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 very good day throwing the football Tuesday. Uh-oh. I guess some people who don't like Alabama's reigning SEC offensive MVP might have to find another reason to dislike him. Is he going to be perfect? No. But he doesn't need to be perfect because he's got a whole other group of skills that supplement his ability to throw the ball that's going to make Alabama difficult to defend. And oh, guess what? Tua Tagovailoa is pretty good too. I'm going to go ahead and say it. Record it. Take a picture. Write it down. Tattoo it on your chest. This is the best situation at quarterback Nick Saban has had at Alabama. Period. Point blank. Period. For this time of year, in April, to have two quarterbacks you could play winning football with is better than any of the previous 10 seasons Nick Saban has had at Alabama. Point blank. End of story. This is as good as they've been. To have two guys and to have a guy coming back off an SEC Offensive Player of the Year award who's only going to be a sophomore. Pinch yourself, Alabama fan. To have a backup who's going to start contending and challenging to be a starter sooner rather than later, who's capable of doing some of the things that he can do. To have two of those guys as freshmen and sophomores, are you freaking kidding me? Pinch yourself. You, Thomas, you in there, pinch yourself. You, driving down the road. Well, don't pinch yourself driving down the road. I don't want you to drive off the road. You, in your cubicle at work, in your office, pinch yourself. It's as good as it's been at quarterback under Nick Saban at any point in his tenure at Alabama. Period. Point blank. End of story.